let's just get right to it, because we
do it.
have our in-studio guests. We have Jim Wahlberg, who's here. Thank you so much for being here. We just saw, If Only, this mind-blowing film.
Amazing
about
production.
adolescent substance use and the impact it has. I'm still feeling really very moved and very choked up by it. How about you?
Really well done. Yes. I mean, I haven't even let it kind of digest yet, because we literally ran from the production to the car to the studio, and now we have the producer sitting right next to us to talk to us about it. I'm very excited.
So welcome, Jim. We also have Tony is here. Tony, do you want to say your last name?
Yeah, last name is LaGreca.
Okay.
And that's where I met Jim, as I was one of the parents that was in the original movie, If Only.
Yeah.
And you would have seen my picture at the end holding my son's picture.
Yeah. It's just so powerful.
And I've seen the movie at least 30 times, if not more. And it still gets me every time I see it. Yeah, there's no... I know half the people that are holding the pictures. I know all the parents. And we actually grieve together in different groups, Team Sharing and Brockton Grasp and place in Kingston, Hope Floats.
Yeah.
Where the parents get together and discuss, what it's like to deal with it.
Yeah. So, Jim, welcome. For our listening audience and our viewing audience, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, but also about this film, If Only?
Is this live?
You bet it is. You are live.
I'm very nervous.
Yeah? You don't look nervous. You look great.
Well, first of all, let me just say thank you guys for having me, and thank you for taking the time to come over and see the film. Yeah, I mean, I'm a person in long-term recovery, and so this epidemic was sort of happening all around me, and I continued to hear about so-and-so lost their kid, so-and-so lost their kid, and it just got to a point where, I had to do something, and I didn't really know what to do. Right, I could do what I do in my personal life, which is to try to carry a message of hope, but I felt like I needed to do something tangible. I needed to make some sort of a contribution to, at the very least, a conversation. And so that's how If Only came to be. My writing partner, Mike Yeber, and I got together, and we wrote the script over a cup of coffee, because we were very familiar with the subject matter, very familiar with sort of the people. All the people in the film represent actual people for us.
Yeah.
And so we wrote the script, and I brought it to one person. I brought it to a guy, Howard Appel. He was at the time the CEO of a urine testing company. I guess it's probably not the technical term for it, but that's the business they were in. And I asked him, I said, I need some money. I want to make this film. I want to tell this story. And I gave him the script. And what I did, as sort of a marketing person that I am, I did some brand integration into the script. I put their name in the story. In this story, mom takes her son to get a physical, and she asked the doctor to drug test him. Something's going on with my son. I don't know what it is, but he's acting very different. And in the original script, the doctor says, absolutely. When he calls to give her the results, she says, are you sure? And he would say, we use the best lab in the country, blah, 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 right? And the guy said, he said, I'll give you the money to make the movie if you do me one favor. And I said, what's that? He said, well, you take our name out of the script.
Wow.
He said, that's not important. What's important is that we need to have this conversation, and we feel like you would be a good person to start the conversation. And so we set about, we totally guessed on what we thought it would cost. And of course, we went over budget, which is, everybody does. And, we came to Massachusetts, which for me was a very special opportunity. It was special for me to be able to come here and to do this, to tell this story with people that didn't need a translator when I spoke.
But this is home for you.
Yeah, this is home.
This is home.
This is home. And so, we were blessed to be able to shoot almost the entire thing in Tewksbury, a great town with great people who really rallied around us and rallied around the importance of the subject matter. Right, because And at 5 years ago, this thing was still on a. It was really just starting to get going.
Yeah, that's right.
At an outrageous level, and there were no communities left that hadn't been affected. If I was 5 years earlier, I probably wouldn't have been able to find a place to shoot that movie, right? But now, at that point, there were no communities that were unaffected. Everybody knew somebody. And they opened their doors to us and I mean, really, like, gave us their time, their treasures, and their talents. They gave them to us. They gave us the school. The custodians, I'm not sure if I still owe them money, but they never asked for the money. Right? They said, well, you got to pay the only people you got to pay is the custodians. They're in the union. They got to get paid, and you're working on the weekends, and they're gonna pay them overtime. And I mean, I don't remember the two custodians' names, but if they walked in here right now, I would absolutely know them. And it's been 5 years because they were so kind.
Yeah.
Right? They were just like they were watching. They were they were involved in what was going on, and if we needed anything, they were on it. And I like to think that I like to think I didn't cheat anybody out of any money. I like to think that they decided that one was going to be their contribution.
Right.
And a lot of people gave a lot of their time. And my dear friend Mark Ginsberg from Tewksbury is a guy that he's a very successful business guy, but you would never know it. He's a super humble, generous, kind, quiet guy who just knows everybody in town. And he was the guy. He started talking to people and asking people, and he got us the church, he got us the priest, he got us the school, he got us the doctor's office. I mean, he fed everybody for free. Right? He owns a country club, a little small 9-hole course, public course, and he made all the meals every day and gave them to us. And he doesn't have a family member that was lost to this. He doesn't have a family member that's addicted, right? But he takes being a member of a community very serious. It's real for him, right? Everybody talks about being part of a community. This guy takes it for real, right? And he's constantly giving to his community. And I mean, without him, I don't know where we would have went. But he got all those doors open to us. And then, I tell the story at the screening tonight that, we said, okay, now we'll show the movie. We made a movie. We got to show it to somebody, right? So let's see what happens. We'll make an announcement. We're going to show. We got to go back to Tewksbury, right? Because they did all these great things for us. We went right back to the school, and they have a huge auditorium with, I don't know, it fits a couple thousand people, 2,000 people. And the night came, and more people and more people and more people and more people kept coming. And, what happens is you think right? Like, I thought I knew when Louise Griffin said, 500 families want to show up and be part of this film because they had a loss. And I thought I knew. And then, you go and you think, a couple people will show up, the people that are in the movie. We'll get a couple hundred people. It won't look so bad, right? We'll keep them down the front. We won't let them do it like they do it at church. Everybody sits away from each other. We'll get them down the front, and it'll look fine. And there wasn't an empty seat.
Wow.
It wasn't an empty seat. And it really, like, each thing that happened was so meaningful to me, because it just spoke to the magnitude of the problem.
Right.
It just continued to make it clear. I thought I knew, but I really didn't know.
But not just the magnitude, but the people are now more willing to actually talk about it. Because for so long, this was all in the shadows. Nobody wanted to talk about this. People denied it. There's an old saying in psychiatry, denial is not just a river in Egypt. Right? I mean, and yet now, with people like you, with other people saying, we're gonna do something. Look how many people are willing to come forward to help. It's time.
Well, probably, aside from, like, my children and a few other people, this film is one of the things I'm most proud of. Not the actual film itself, right? The movie.
Right.
But the fact that these families came out and found each other, I'm telling you, 250 individuals walked into that church.
Humbling.
And a family walked out of there.
Amazing.
Like they came together in a way that was powerful.
Yes.
And, you know, I talk a lot about Louise Griffin, and her son was Zachary. He was 21 years old when he passed, and her inviting these people and this network. But somehow the local newspaper found out about what we were doing. And when I say somehow, I don't know. I attribute it all to God. That's my thing, right? Mm-hmm. The local newspaper found out what we were doing. They got a copy of Louise's email inviting people, and they printed it in the newspaper. And quite a few of the people that came were not people that were connected through any kind of resources or anything with Louise. There were people that read about it in the newspaper and felt like they had to be there because they needed to be around people that knew what they were feeling, right? Because, you know, the loneliness and the despair, right? You can only imagine, right? And they came, and there were people there. So we shot that funeral scene. It was January 25th. So it was exactly 1 month after Christmas. There was a woman there who came downstairs on Christmas morning to find her son overdosed. And then there was another guy there that came down to find his daughter just a week before. So literally, his daughter dies. 2 days later, he sees it in the newspaper. And he said to me, I don't know why, but I knew I needed to be here. I needed to be around people that knew what I was talking about, that, you know, that had a sort of an understanding of what I'm going through.
Yeah.
When you have that feeling, which I've had, you want to be with other people that you can communicate. The most important thing about grief is action. And you want to do something and be part of something to get the message out immediately. And that's what I found. And to give you a little more footnote, I found out about the movie from the mayor of Brockton, because I was running one of his GRASP meetings, which is called the Grief Response After a Substance Passing. So we had a pretty good-sized group.
Was that Bill Carpenter?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
Yeah, he was terrific.
He was a great man.
Bill worked with us endlessly. We did vigils. He put it together. He organized it. And there was a woman there who did a lot of, Mrs. Sandoval did most of the work with him. But we were a caravan in a blizzard driving from Brockton to Tewksbury on the worst weather day of the year up until that point. You know, we didn't even have a winter until that day, you know, and then
2.5 feet.
Yeah. And we were up there, and those big snowflakes, that's not digital recover. That's real snowflakes, you know.
No, it was such a powerful scene. The whole movie was, you know, it moved, and there was the arc to it, you know, starting here and talking with the mom, you know, it was powerful. Did you choose the name Isaac for a reason? I mean, Isaac from the Bible was going to be sacrificed by his father Abraham.
Yeah, I know the story well.
Yeah, it's just powerful.
You know, I don't believe in coincidence.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. I am a strong believer in God incidents. Yeah. So in my co-writer, who, you know, so how we work together is I tell him a story, right? I give him the broad strokes. This is going to happen. This has got to happen. This has got to happen. And then he's the creative guy that brings it all to life, you know? And he's just another guy like me with, you know, he's got no education. He's a street guy, a knock-around guy who's a guy in recovery himself. And he just writes the way real people express themselves. He just has a way about him. And so quite possibly that could have been going on in his right. psyche, or it could have been, you know, planted there by.
That's right.
Stretch the kindness, rush with madness. Is it sadness or just a show?